Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 1, 9 Princesses. Mi Yuning, the 9 princesses of the Great Xia dynasty died and were poisoned to death today. At this time, she looked at the fallen corpse on the ground as a soul. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes, and he couldn't believe it. She grew up cautiously in the palace. For the dark methods of the harem, it has always been a handy maneuver. Even if she met later, that noble man. Get the asylum of the other party, and never relax his vigilance. Ku is obviously so careful, how could she still be recruited? The facts are in front of us, she was indeed poisoned to death. At this time, the corpse was still lying on the ground with excess temperature. Haha, Mi Jiu, you also have today. Die all. Mi Yuning looked at the woman standing next to her corpse, with cold light in her eyes. Clearly a woman with such a gentle temperament, but at this time she is so crazy, her complexion slowly distorted. Is really ugly. The jewel in the palm of the Prime Minister's mansion, Jiang Wan. Is the future princess who has been sheltering her, who is more powerful than the man sitting on the dragon chair, with a noble status, and a powerful man. Mi Yuning didn't understand why this woman wanted to kill her, and what did they worry about. Heavy and regular footsteps came from outside the door. Mi Yuning floated in the air, looking at the source of the sound. At the same time, Jiang Wan, who was crazy in the room, also looked out of the door. I saw a group of people in black rushing in from the door, and when they rushed into the room, they suppressed Jiang Wan and even blocked her mouth rudely. Mi Yuning knows who subordinates these people who rushed in are. She looked at the door faintly. Sure enough, the man appeared. The handsome man who was born noble, and holds great power, walked into the room step by step. The footsteps are elegant and fast, and the whole body exudes an unparalleled powerful aura. When the man's cold eyes saw her body, there was a touch of complexity and guilt. Seeing this, Mi Yuning doesn't understand. This man stretched out his hand to take her out of the abyss of the cannibal palace from when she was not in time. Where does that trace of guilt come from? The man walked steadily, and walked to her corpse step by step. He picked her up carefully. The man held her to her feet and looked at Jiang Wan coldly. Kill dash. The cold, emotionless words came out of the man's thin lips. S gaze was even more icy, with an obvious killing intent. Mi Yuning can't remember everything after. She was taken by the man onto the ice bed. The man's eyes glowed softly, and he gently combed her hair. Her soul has been standing in front of the bed. The man's gaze seemed to glance at her casually, and then a gentle smile hung from the corner of his mouth. The coldness on that face faded. Little 9, wait a minute. Mi Yuning was taken aback when he heard the words. And many more. What are you waiting for? However, before she could think, she felt a burst of suction and took her out of the room. Her consciousness also fell into a coma, and there was darkness in front of her eyes. The ancient gods, the saints of gods return to a ray of soul, enter the 3,000 worlds, all living beings bow their heads. When Mi Yuning fell into a coma, he only heard such a plausible word. She did not understand, nor did she understand what it meant. But she knew she was dead. Did not die in the dark harem battle, but died in the hands of the regent of the Great Xia dynasty, the future princess. Her life is really short. Mi Yuning didn't know that after she left, everything in this world fell into a static mode. Even the handsome man who had been guarding her body disappeared. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 2, the First Appearance of the Soul, 1. When Mi Yuning opened her eyes again, there was still confusion in her eyes. She looked at the unfamiliar environment around her, with puzzles and doubts in her eyes. Is even more afraid of this alternative space. Is surrounded by modern outfits, and all rooms she doesn't recognize. There is also a big mirror in the house. Is much clearer than the bronze mirror in her boudoir. Through that mirror, Mi Yuning saw who she is now. Is exactly the same as her dead face. Wearing exposed shoulder, bare shoulder backpack clothes, the fabric on his body is also pitiful. There is also the loose hair, which is much shorter than before. Mi Yuning narrowed his eyes. She is dead. So what's going on now? Mi Yuning, The world you are in now is not the previous Great Xia dynasty, but the modern plane. Because it was the first time to enter the 3000 world, there was no time to find a plane that suits you. Who are you? Suddenly heard an unfamiliar voice. Mi Yuning suddenly sat up from the bed. She didn't have the slightest fear on her face, even with a cold killing intent on her face. Since she left the harem of the Great Xia dynasty that eats people and does not spit out bones, she has been with the man. She has been raised by the other party and is not afraid of fear, and has gradually become infected with the other's aura. His own aura is also natural, with that man's somewhat similar. When Mi Yuning made a sound, the sudden sound fell into silence. Mi Yuning did not relax his vigilance because of this. She looked at the strange and weird scenes around her, and found no one there. This made her more vigilant. Mi Yuning has been keeping a move. At this time, she was sitting on a modern luxurious bed, but in a blink of an eye, she felt the space twisted. The person on the bed disappeared. Mi Yuning also felt the sudden change, and her body shook a few times. In an instant, she reached a place that is not unfamiliar. Beneath her is the chaise lounge, and the surrounding dress is also the decoration she was familiar with in the Great Xia dynasty. This is a room that is simple in decoration, but makes her feel at ease. The only difference is that in the center of this room, there is a colorful stone emitting a dull light. Beside the stone, there is an ancient ring floating. The ring with the solemn pattern also exudes a white light. Mi Yuning, I am the master of this small world, you can call me to give up my soul. I can answer you any questions, but before you ask, I will tell you some necessary situations. You are dead in the Great Xia dynasty, I will bring your soul here. As long as you complete the required tasks, you can return to the Great Xia dynasty and start again. Mi Yuning heard the neutral voice again, and this time did not interrupt her. In this small space, looking for the source of the sound. Soon she locked her eyes on the ancient ring. Could it be this ancient ring? When Mi Yuning put his sight on the ancient ring floating beside the colorful stone, the neutral voice also disappeared. The voice sounded like a male voice, but also like a female voice. Mi Yuning did not analyze for a while whether the other party was a male or a female. But at this time she still thinks about this, which shows that everything is in her favor. Because she is still alive now. I need to know everything. Mi Yuning is not afraid of the weirdness in front of him, not afraid of all this magical. Because she is already dead, no one can die anymore, there is nothing to fear. She habitually leans on the beauty couch, looking at the ancient ring in the void, her voice is calm. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 3, The First Appearance of the Ring Soul, 2. After Mi Yuning spoke, Jiehuan told her everything. Of course, all of this is just about the task. After the quitting soul stopped, Mi Yuning fell into a weird silence. Although she was very calm, Mi Yuning still had a lot of turmoil in her heart. What happened before her eyes was too much to subvert her cognition. She died, and she can still live on. The so-called survival is nothing more than relying on other people's bodies. Experience different worlds and complete some special tasks before you can survive. The mission is completed to a certain point, and she can return to the Great Xia dynasty before her. But the task at hand made her confused. Reverse the fate of others, change all the cannon fodder, female partner, female lead or miserable or difficult destiny. But what can she do? She can't even change the fate of her own death. Thinking of this, Mi Yuning suddenly sat up straight from the collapse. Wrong. She can be changed, and she can be reborn and resurrected as long as she follows the instructions of the soul. Although it sounds a bit horrible, even in the Daxia dynasty, this is simply nonsense of ghosts and gods. But she is fine now, all this can be changed. I promise. Mi Yuning heard her answer like this. Jie Han heard these 3 words and floated in front of her from the colorful stone. The contract is established. After, it flew to Mi Yuning's right index finger on its own. The host, if you want to be reborn, you must resurrect the light of this colorful glazed stone. When the task progresses to a certain level, it will change on its own. At that time, the day when the host returns to the Great Xia dynasty will not be far away. Now I'm going to introduce the world to the host. We need to get out soon after we're done. You can communicate with my consciousness afterwards, without speaking out. Waiting for the spirit to finish the task, Mi Yuning did not respond. Jia's soul also fell into silence. Is the Daxia dynasty the same as before after I die? Then when I complete my mission and come back, will the region of the Daxia dynasty have long been dead? She felt a little uncomfortable thinking of the man. Although the other party's future princess killed her, but she was not angry with the man who rescued her from the harem. Hearing the host's words, Vigilance immediately responded, "No, wait until the host completes the task and the time returns to before you die. Everything after that depends on how the host reverses." Mi Yuning is satisfied with this. She is not the real Jiao Didi princess of the great Xia dynasty. Even now facing such an unthinkable situation, there is only one firm conviction in her heart. That is to live. And deep down, she still wants to meet that man. After, Ji Sun sent her back to the mission world. Time flies, and the years go by. Thousands of years have passed in a blink of an eye. Mi Yuning once again completed the task and entered the space of guilt. Looking at the unchanging colorful glazed stone in the space, there was no emotional change in her eyes, and there was no expectation and hope. She is the only person in the big space, and the spirit of guilt is still in her hands. "Host, do you want to enter the next world?" At this moment, the voice of the soul of quitting sounded. Mi Yuning thinks of the world he has passed through for thousands of years, but now it seems very vague. But she is still alive now, living endlessly. She has long been accustomed to living like this. As long as she does not die, she will continue the mission forever. Reincarnation for 100 times, the task nowadays has already been like a fish in water for her. Enter the next world. Only by constant tasks, she can survive. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 4, Entertainment Tycoon, Endlessly Pampered, 1. Ah, hurry up and pull people out. The staff. Where are they dead? The sound of messy people, accompanied by the sound of flustered footsteps, was in Mi Yuning's ear. She felt severe pain all over her body, especially her head. Opening his eyes laboriously, he saw the machinery not far away, as well as the man standing in the middle with great anger on his face. This time it has reached the modern age. Feeling that the pain in the body will not cause casualties, Mi Yuning closed her eyes and waited for the soul to repair the wounds in her body. Just when Mi Yuning arrived in this mission world, not far from this site. In the building of Shen's entertainment company. High-level office area, in the office marked with the chairman of the board, the man lying on the desk suddenly woke up. The man's peach blossom eyes that have just been sober are slightly raised, and the eyes are clear but a little confused. The handsome and cold face is a bit distressed. Deep eyes looked at somewhere in the office, thinking of the back in the dream. Just now, he has been chasing a figure in his dream. It was the back of the woman, but he couldn't catch it no matter what. Obviously listening to the woman's laughter was in her ears, but she watched the other party farther and farther away. Until the other person's back disappeared, he woke up from his dream. For him, this is simply unthinkable. When did he even dream of a woman? The man stretched out his hand and pressed his forehead with quite a headache, and the other hand pressed the secretary's landline outside. Send today's documents. The phone connects and the man gives orders. Maybe it's because he was too tired recently and let him not have enough rest. When Mi Yuning woke up again, she was in the hospital. And there was only one girl waiting beside her. Mayfair. You are awake. When the girl saw the person on the bed opened her eyes, she stood up excitedly, her eyes full of surprises. At this time, Mi Yuning had already received all the memories in her mind. The name of this body is Ran Feier. He is a third-line actor. He is neither popular nor famous. The mission this time is about modern entertainment circles. Mi Yuning quickly mastered all the characters, expressions and movements of the original owner. She looked at the girl next to the hospital bed with horror. May, what's wrong with me? Mi Yuning held her forehead with a very painful expression. The girl in front of her is the life assistant of the original owner. Seeing her reaching out to touch her head, she immediately stopped her. Mayfair, you can't meet your head now, you were injured when you were shooting yesterday, do you remember? Mi Yuning heard this with entanglement and confusion on her face. After a while, she shook her head. I don't remember, I feel a pain in my head. Ami's face became tense when she heard that. She reached out and pressed the button on the bedside. Soon a doctor walked into the room. Because the original owner is an artist, the crew arranged a single room for him. The doctor walked in with the nurse and went straight to the bed. What's the discomfort? Is there any reaction to dizziness, nausea, and want to vomit? Does the wound hurt? Mi Yuning and Ame listened. The elderly Dr. Rory was awkward, and finally one of them stopped. Doctor. My doctor, Mayfair doesn't remember anything. He always says headaches. Is it amnesia? You should check it soon. Ame pulled the doctor's clothes. Her expression was very nervous. But there is a hint of excitement in the tension. This made Mi Yuning, who was secretly observing, a little stomachache. What kind of assistant is this? Such a nerve, even feel that the other party is still exuding the atmosphere of the second. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 5, Entertainment Tycoon, Endlessly Pampered, 2. Doctor pulled Ami's hand away and squinted at Mi Yuning. The latter immediately put away all his emotions, holding his head and looking painful. Doctor, my head hurts so much that I feel about to split. What is going on? The doctor reached out to fiddle with Mi Yuning's eyelids, and then observed for a while before picking up the case on the side. Do you remember your name? Do you know how you got hurt? Mi Yuning heard this. His face was thoughtful. My name is Ran Fayer, I am an actor, but I forgot how I was injured. What is going on? With an anxious expression, she looked at the doctor and Ami beside her. It's over, Mayfair really has amnesia, I want to tell Brother Ching. Ami heard the doctor's words and hurried out. The doctor's final appraisal, indirect amnesia. Waiting for everyone to leave the ward, Mi Yuning put away the disguise on her face. I don't take advantage of the original owner's injury and amnesia, so according to the original owner's character, it will not be good for her future development. The original owner wants to become a generation's queen, but with this weak and introverted character, it is absolutely impossible. Of course, there is also her, who feels aggrieved to live with such a temperament. Little soul, how is my health now? Are there any sequelae from the wound? Mi Yuning held her head, frowning and inquired about the soul. No, it's just going to hurt for 2 days. Do you want to block the pain? The voice of Ji Hyun sounded in his mind. Looking at the sky outside the ward, it was really a sunny day. Shield the pain. Boom. Just as Mi Yuning finished talking with Jai Honggu, the ward was pushed aside vigorously. The comer is a well-dressed young man. However, Mi Yuning saw the people coming, but the 4 words of gentle scum appeared in his mind. Brother Ching, you are here. Soon Mi Yuning put away the indifferent before, with a blush on her face, as if embarrassed to look at the incoming person. Well, I heard that you were injured very badly. I don't remember what happened before. The visitor sat directly on the chair beside the hospital bed. His expression was even more impatient, as if he came to the hospital to see people. It was his kindness and charity. Mi Yuning lowered her head, a sneer curled up at the corner of her mouth. Shen Qing, the agent of the original owner. The gold broker of Shen's entertainment company even has some relationship with Shen's senior management. This man once misappropriated many of her good resources for another female artist in his hands. Ah, think of this. The reason why the original owner was injured seems to be related to another artist of Shenqing. Li Xian, a capable cadre in the hands of Shenqing. Shen's entertainment company's popular star. Original owner Ran Fayer now shares a crew with Li Xian. The filming of Legend of the Tang Dynasty, the crew has just started filming. Li Xian is the heroine in the play, and the original owner is just a little N female. Don't know why, Li Xian has been looking at the original owner since last year. Even made small moves behind her back, so that Shenqing took away her resources. So the original master's star path is getting harder and harder. The reason why the original owner was injured this time was because he was pushed by Li Xian, resulting in injuries. Because on the first day of shooting, the crew was messy and no one saw it. Even if she stood up and said that Li Xian pushed her, it is estimated that not many people would believe it. A small third-line artist, a popular star, this is a question of strength. Why do not you talk? Shen Qing's impatient voice sounded. Mi Yuning shook after hearing this, and then raised her head to look at the opponent, her eyes moist. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 6, Entertainment Tycoon, Endlessly Pampered, 3. Brother Qing, I don't know what is going on. I forgot why I was injured. It seems that there is something I can't remember. Shen Qing looked at the delicate and innocent girl in front of her eyes, with a glimmer of light deep in her eyes. He discovered for the first time that the girl in front of him had such capital. There was an idea in his mind, which made his face look much better. Hearing the other party saying that he can't remember, he put away his impatience. Forget it, I arranged a supporting role in a TV series for you before, and now you are injured, please push it, and then I will find a good one for you. Character, you should heal your injury first, and I will arrange work for you when you are better. Shen Qing comforted in words for a while, and then hurriedly left. Mi Yuning watched the other party leave, with a satisfied look on her face. It is impossible for her to act as a supporting role for Li Xian. Take advantage of this injury, what she needs to do, plan her future. The original master wants to be a queen, so he has to change his path. The first thing is to leave Shen Qing's control. And why Li Xian should be so unfriendly to the original owner, all of this must be clarified. It's a pity that the original owner was so young that she was crushed to death. No wonder she was unwilling to be reconciled. But it is precisely because of this that she will come. Mi Yuning stayed in the hospital for a week and was finally discharged. Has been a small assistant by her side this week, and Ami is taking care of her. At this time, Ami drove the car and drove her back to the residence of the original owner. The original owner is an orphan and grew up in an orphanage, which has also developed her cowardly and introverted character since childhood. Her academic qualifications are not high. When she was working in a coffee shop, she was discovered by a scout from Shen's entertainment company and brought her into the entertainment industry. The original owner has been in the circle for less than 3 years, and has always been unknown. Even though she has a good leather bag, she was wasted in Shen Qing's hands. Mayfair, here we are. The car stopped, Mi Yuning looked up and saw the apartment in front of her. At a glance, it is the place where the general population lives. But this is already very good for the original owner. An orphan, relying on his own hard work, has his own real estate in this first-tier city, it is already rare. Mi Yuning followed Ame and got off the car, went upstairs and entered the residence of the original owner. Open the door of the room, you can have a panoramic view of the not-so-large space, and the room is very clean. Mayfair, the young man said that he will let you rest for a day. The day after tomorrow, Shen's company will have a banquet, and all the artists of the company will go there. There are even many well-known directors and partners. The young man wants you to be there. It's an opportunity, you have to seize it this time. Entering the room, Ame put the salute to the door and began to chant. This week of getting along, also made Mi Yuning discover that this Ami looks like a kid who has something to say. But occasionally a little offense, but sincerely for the original owner. This woman must not be cheap, Li Xian, or she has acted in a few more TV series. She is not as good-looking as our Mayfair. She always looks superior. Listening to Ame's muttering, Mi Yuning walked to the refrigerator and took out 2 bottles of water from it. Here. Throw it in front of May. The latter quickly picked up, Mayfair, let me tell you whether you heard it or not, don't worry, it's been half of this year, look at what you have achieved, so did Brother Qing. I just thought of taking you out recently. I don't know if it's the woman Li Xian who is doing the trick. Every time she has any good resources, she owns it. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 7, Entertainment Tycoon, Endlessly Pampered, 4. Mi Yuning smiled indifferently, twisted the water bottle and took a few sips, and sat on the sofa in the living room. This time Shen Qing actually wanted to show her face, which is not a good sign. Thinking of Shen Qing's weird look when she left that day, Mi Yuning has a subtle expression. Ami saw the woman sitting on the sofa and did not speak. Every time the emperor is not in a hurry, he is in a hurry. Before, Mayfair would still be anxious, but now it's all right, she doesn't care about her face, and she doesn't know what the other party is thinking. She accepted her fate and began to clean up the house. Wait to tidy up the room, then took the takeaway menu from the kitchen and walked over. Mayfair, I'm leaving first. You can order takeaway for lunch. My parents come back from a business trip today. I'm going to accompany them. Mi Yuning heard the other party's takeaway menu and finally spoke, thank you. Ame rolled her eyes when she heard the words, it's really unbelievable. She poked Mi Yuning's forehead, turned and left. The latter touched his forehead, raised his eyebrows and looked at the girl who was leaving, with a surprised smile on his face. It's really not big or small. After Ami left, Mi Yuning walked into the original owner's bedroom. First, he took out the contract signed by the original owner and Shin's company from the drawer. The 5-year contract is now more than 2 years away from the expiration of the original master contract. If she wants to terminate the contract, she will need to compensate several million in compensation. It seems that she can't leave Shin's company yet. Then it is about to leave Shin Qing's control. It's just how to leave, which requires a lot of thought. Time soon arrived at the banquet held by Shin's entertainment company. The banquet held on this day is mainly for the birth of a new actor. Re-elected as a popular niche for 3 years, Zhang Yanlin won the actor this year. The company specially organized a celebration banquet for this cash cow. Ami came to the house in the afternoon to dress Mi Yuning. It is makeup and clothes selection, which is even more frantic than her. Okay, Amy is fine now. Seeing that the sky is getting late, Mi Yuning finally stops Ami from continuing to touch up her makeup. The little girl pursed the corner of her mouth when she heard the words, and looked at Mi Yuning in front of her. I nodded as I watched, snapped his fingers, okay, let's go. The venue of the banquet is in the famous Kaya Hotel. Kaya Hotel is a famous entertainment train in this city. This place is frequently visited by members of the upper class. Ame drove a Volkswagen sedan and parked in a group of luxury cars. The two of them were not embarrassed. After getting off the car, they walked into the hotel. Just a few steps away from the two, a low-key and luxurious Bentley drove over at a fast speed. They had to stop. The beautiful luxury car quickly flew past them. The person sitting in the back seat, with a pair of deep eyes, saw Mi Yuning, and his eyes changed for a moment. Until the car drove, he turned his head and chased it. Mi Yuning himself stood in place, unable to see the scene in the car. After the car passed by, Ame took her straight to the hotel. The banquet was on the top floor, and the two took the elevator to the top of the building. As soon as the elevator opens, you can have a panoramic view of the scene of the banquet. Men and women in Chinese clothes, holding high-end drinks, enthusiastically communicate with each other. Happiness and laughter, the atmosphere in the venue is very lively. Ami took Mi Yuning straight to the banquet. As soon as Mi Yuning appeared, people who were closer turned their eyes on her. A low-key white long dress with delicate light makeup, a pearl necklace around her neck, and her long hair rolled up. What a beauty with a calm and elegant temperament. Such a natural temperament, it is rare to see a pure beauty. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 8, Entertainment Tycoon, Endlessly Pampered, 5. Most of the members present were immersed in this circle. At a glance, they could see Mi Yuning's face that hadn't touched a knife. This is the most rare in this circle now. Mi Yuning naturally felt the attention of many people, with a faint smile on her face, neither stage fright nor arrogance. Mayfair, here. Just then, a male voice rang. Ame and Mi Yuning looked at them at the same time, only to see Shin Qing beckoning to them not far away. Today's Shin Qing is dressed in formal clothes, and looks even more well-dressed and defeated. Seeing Shin Qing's face with excitement, Ame pulled Mi Yuning straight to him. Many people in the audience have seen this scene, and many people have a spectrum in their hearts. They have some ideas about the natural beauty that appeared at today's banquet. Knowing that this person is from the gold broker Shin Qing, then he also knows how to contact him. Shin Qing looked at Ran Feier approaching, the more she looked, the more satisfied she became. Knowing that this girl has such capital, she has brought people out a long time ago. It's just that the girl who used to be introverted and weak, always shamed him, and then she didn't bother to pay attention to it. Now it's worth seeing. He just saw several partners of Shen's entertainment company, and what did the well-known director's eyes look at Ran Fei? He is very satisfied with this. Shen Qing calmly picked up a glass of wine from the waiter's tray beside him and brought it to Mi Yuning. The chairman will also be there today. Please be careful not to mess up. The chairman will only come to the scene for a while. After that, I will take you to get to know some directors and see if I can find some good scripts for you. Mi Yuning took the drink from Shen Qing and nodded gently. But the brain communicates with the guilt. Little soul, see if there is any problem with this glass of wine. No, you can rest assured. Knowing that there is no problem with the drinks, Mi Yuning took a sip. Don't blame her for being so careful, who blames Shen Qing for having bad intentions in her eyes. Although I really don't know what the other party's idea is, it's definitely not a good thing for her. After all, be careful to sail the ship for 10,000 years. Shen Qing nodded when she saw her, and then asked a few more words before walking towards Li Xian not far away. Mi Yuning took the wine in her hand and took another sip. Not to mention, this wine is not bad, Shen's shot is really generous. This drink is not cheap, and the supply and demand for the banquet is also huge. She turned and looked up and saw it, Shen Qing and Li Xian, who were not far away, looked here. With a shy face on her face, she raised a glass to the two of them. Shen Qing smiled in disguise, but Li Xian saw her face turn black. Li Xian didn't know that Ran Fei was also there before. She looked very ugly when she saw the other side's appearance with a small surprise. Brother Qing, why did you let her come? This woman always succeeds in failing more than succeeding, and bringing her here is a hassle. Shen Qing knows that Li Xian always looks at Ran Fei. Although I don't know the specific reason, women are always like that, just look out for collisions. Usually he will follow Li Xian. But today he needs to re-evaluate the value of Ran Fei. Xian, today I asked her to have my thoughts, but this will definitely not affect you, don't be unhappy. Li Xian looked at the woman not far away bitterly when she heard Shen Qing's comforting words. She just dislikes this woman Ran Fei. Especially that incident that happened a year ago made her jealous. Fast Through the White Moonlight is Poisonous Chapter 9, Entertainment Tycoon, Endlessly Pampered, 6. Suddenly there was a noise at the entrance of the banquet, and everyone at the scene looked at that place. Even Mi Yuning looked up. A tall and stalwart figure appeared in his eyes. Shen Ke strode towards the banquet, and everyone passing by gave way. The man who walked has a pair of charming peach eyes, but his face was extremely cold, without a trace of smile. Behind him was a man and a woman, always keeping up with the man's footsteps. Shen Dong. Listening to someone calling a man, Mi Yuning knew the identity of the man. Chairman of Shen's entertainment company. This man looks so young. Is 30 years old. It's not easy to manage the huge Shen company at such a young age. The man walked straight to the banquet table, Mi Yuning walked not far away regardless of his own affairs. Taking advantage of everyone to join in front of Chairman Shen, she needs to fill up her stomach. I saw that the food at the banquet was also good, I have a good meal tonight. My dear host, why are you so depressed? Mission, your mission. At this moment, the voice of quitting the soul and hating the iron cannot become steel sounded. Mi Yuning's expression remained unchanged, and she walked to the place where the cakes were placed and began to choose. Xiao Hunter, what happened to you today? It seems something is wrong. Mi Yuning chooses a piece of cake that is not greasy and enjoys it slowly. The spirits of the past would not urge her to task. Host, please take the task seriously. Although you have completed the cycle of 100 generations, you have no proud capital. You are still floating in the 3,000 worlds. Hearing what Ji Hyun said, Mi Yuning stopped eating. Her eyes flashed with a dangerous light. Yes, she has been in this world for thousands of years. Has been reincarnated for a long time. But she still couldn't find a way back. Because the colorful glazed stone in the ring's soul space has not changed in any way. According to Jie Han, only the colorful glazed stone will have a chance to go back when it shines again one day. But after so many years, her anticipation from the very beginning, excitement, and finally turned into disappointment. More expectation, more disappointment. At the end, she had no hope. At this time, Ji Sun took the initiative to mention it, and she was even more confused deep in her heart. She seriously suspects that this is simply a lie of quitting the soul, just to imprison her in these 3,000 small worlds. Turning to think, what kind of capital does she have? There are so many innocent people like her who have been affected by the death. Gui Shun, do you think it is possible for me to go back? I almost forget where I came from. Hearing his host's depression and a somewhat serious tone, Jihan was a little frightened. Host, you will succeed. As long as you work hard to complete the task, there will always be a day when the colorful glazed stone will change. Really, you have to believe me. Mi Yuning also heard the words of Jie Han, but chuckled, without any response. She put aside the cakes that she had just had some appetite in her hand. Looking at it at this time, I completely lost my previous appetite. Regardless of whether the vigilantes lied to her or it was true, she has no chance to resist, right? As long as she wants to live, she must wander in these 3,000 worlds. Sorted out his depression, and set his eyes on the banquet hall again. But the moment he looked up, he saw Li Xian walking towards this side. Today's Li Xian is also beautifully dressed. Wearing exposure, but also has a seductive charm, it is worthy of being a popular star. Li Xian met her gaze, with contempt in her eyes, and gloating. Fast through the white moonlight is poisonous. Chapter 10, Entertainment Tycoon, Endlessly Pampered, 7. Mi Yuning didn't understand what this woman was gloating about. However, she did not evade or give in to the opponent's sight. Oh! You are so bold today, you are so bold. Li Xian walked to Mi Yuning's side and began to develop the mocking mode. Mi Yuning smiled at this and couldn't deny it. The latter saw the smile on his face distorted for a moment. Ran Feier, even if you know Dong Shen, now you are still under my feet, what kind of capital do you have than me now? Mi Yuning heard Li Xian's words, but she was shocked. The original owner actually knew Dong Shen. She looked at the man surrounded by people in the banquet. The man's deep eyes were as quiet as water, and he talked with the people around him. His face did not change at all, just as cold as he entered the arena. Little soul, the original owner knows that man. She did not find this scene in the memory of the original owner. Soon Soul transferred the intersection between the original owner and the man to Mi Yuning's memory. Seeing the intersection between the original owner and the man, Mi Yuning laughed out loud. She put her gaze on Li Xian in front of her. The latter saw her put her gaze on Shandong, with a trace of gloat in her gaze. Mi Yuning opened her red lips and said something that shocked Li Xian. I don't know Dong Shen, you are for this, so you have been targeting me for more than a year. She used a very positive tone. Li Xian could not refute this. No one knows how jealous she was when she saw Ran Feier, talking and laughing while standing with that man. So for more than a year, she has been secretly using means to suppress the woman's head everywhere. Although it was later discovered that Ran Feier and Shandong did not seem to overlap, she had long been used to bullying each other everywhere. Seeing the look in Li Xian's eyes, Mi Yuning was sure. Li Xian was always embarrassed by the original owner because of the misunderstanding at the beginning, and eventually killed the other party by accident. If she hadn't arrived, the original owner Ran Feier would have died of accidental injuries that day. How innocent the original owner is. You are talking nonsense. At the beginning, you were unscrupulous shamelessly seduced Shandong, but in the end you didn't fawn on it. I found out that I became ashamed and angry. Li Xian quickly regained her former dominance. Mi Yuning smiled lightly at this. She once again set her eyes on the man who had a strong sense of presence at the banquet. Little soul, what do you think of this man? Jia's soul means that he can't understand the host's words. Good character, handsome, romantic and suave, Yushu facing the wind, clean and self-discipline, is a good man at home. However, the soul is still the fastest. Collect all the words of praise in your mind to express that man. Mi Yuning's expression became a little subtle. Quiet soul, I feel that you are really wrong today. Didn't wait for the soul to refute, she continued, I was urging me to do the task first, and at this time I also took the initiative to praise a man. This is really rare in 10,000 years. Jia Hun silenced. He knows that there are too many mistakes. Mi Yuning didn't care about the silence of the soul. But when she looked at the man standing in the crowd, there was a slight change. Li Xian saw Mi Yuning look into the distance, sneered twice, turned and left. Now she has no fun at all embarrassing a small third-line artist. The status and status are different, and the kind of enjoyment is also different.